class flashcards together. All right, so we'll do some division. You ready?
6.
Good.
2. 5. 2. 1.
That one was hard.
1. 8.
Some of these are easy. Let's do that.
8.
8, good.
7. 5. 8. 7. 4. 7.
Good.
8. 4. 7.
2 more.
6.
No.
6.
Go move your pin. 9, very good. Mine's on math. First group we have is Braden, Logan, Jensen, and Noah. Okay, here we go. 8 times 5 divided by 10 times 4 equals
1. 4. 40.
one more time. 8 times 5 divided by 10 times 4 equals
28. 28. 16. 20.
yes, but I heard
I have no clue what.
4 times 4 is 16. Okay, 9 times 8 divided by 6 times 12 equals
140.
very good. One more. Here it is. 5 divided by 1 times 10 plus 20 equals
70.
yes. Alright, next group. Matthew, Alex, Nicholas, and Jana. Ready? 100 divided by 2 times 10 divided by 2 equals
200. 500. 300. 5,000.
Alright, let me say it one more time. 100 divided by 2 times 10 divided by 2 equals
72. 84. 100. 500. 50,000. 90.
Alright, no, nobody got it. Jed, what is it?
250.
Yes. You said 500, but then you had to divide it by 2. 250.
Oh.
Okay. Next one. 6 times 9 plus 6 equals
9. 60.
6. Okay, one more. 72 divided by 8 times 8 minus 1 equals.
1.
Yes. Very good. Next group. Jacob, Lucy, Jed, and Mackenzie. Okay, 15 divided by 5 times 9 minus 3 plus 1 times 4 equals divided by 5 times 3 times 9, sorry. Okay, so 15 divided by 5 times 9 minus 3 plus 1 times 4 equals
150.
100.
100. Just plain old 100. Okay. 15 minus 13 times 9 divided by 6 times 30 equals
960.
Say it one more time. 15 divide, can't talk. 15 minus 13 times 9 divided by 6 times 30 equals 90. Jude Mackenzie, you said that? Okay. Alright. Micah, move your pen. That was not kind. One more, ready? I'm going to do this one a little bit fast. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 2 minus 2 plus 1 minus 1 equals
33.
yeah, I think Jacob did it for me. And the last group is who is left. I'm just going to do one big group, okay? Micah, Lucas, Dylan, Mason, Autumn, Marissa. All right, here we go. 40 plus 40 plus 10 minus 10 equals
80.
yes. Okay. 16 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 equals
86. 26.
26. Mike got that one. Last one. 16 divided by 2 times 3 plus 1 times 2 equals
50.
yes. All right, very good. That was your 9. I need for you to get out your math book and your ruler. Hopefully you have the ruler that at the very beginning of the year, I asked for you to bring a wooden ruler to school. And the reason was because I had Mrs. Brooks. May I borrow this? Is this colored? Okay, very good. I had Mrs. Brooks color the ruler into quarters. So if you look on your ruler, if you don't have a wooden ruler, then just get the ruler out that you have. You should have a ruler. No. Okay, now my ruler is just red, so I don't have the colors like you have. But we're going to start learning about different measurements. So today we're going to talk about inches in a foot. So if you notice, each of these big numbers on your ruler are inches. Now, some of you might have a ruler that has inches on one side. May I borrow this again? Okay, so we've got inches on one side. So they're the numbers that are farther apart. And then these over here are centimeters. We're not going to talk about those right now. So flip it so that the top of your ruler has the inches on top. Okay, now cover all of the inches up that you can with one hand except for that first inch. Okay, so just look at 1 inch. Now, there's different divisions in even just that 1 inch. So you'll notice that in the very, can you find the ruler? Okay, sometimes in the very center of the inch, that line is a little bit longer than the others, and that indicates a 1/2 inch. Makes sense, right? So go ahead and point to the 1/2 inch on your ruler. 1/2 inch. So it's right in between from the very edge of your ruler where the 0 is to the 1. So halfway is 1/2 of an inch. Okay, now what is 1/2 of a half?
A whole.
No,
Eight?
not a half plus a half. If you have, right, if you take 1/2 of an apple, and then you take that one of your halves that you cut and cut that in half, what is that cut into? Quarters. So same with your inches. If you take that 1/2 inch and cut it in half, that's a quarter. So just show me 1/4 of an inch. Can you show me that? Here. Okay, show me, just cover up everything but that 1/4 of an inch. Now, I think Mrs. Brooks colored those yellow. So your first quarter is yellow, your second quarter is orange, your third quarter is blue, and your fourth quarter is pink. So 4 quarters equal 1 whole. So 4/4 of an inch equals 1 inch. Now, how many inches are in a foot? This is a foot.
12.
There's 12 inches in a foot. Alright, so now cover up on your ruler. Did I say it was in your book? I think I did. Cover up everything except for 1.5 inches. Show me 1.5 inches left. No, 1.5. No, 1 whole and then another half.
Yeah.
Some of you are just showing me half. 1.5. So show me 1 whole inch and then plus a half of another inch. Okay, so I have a Band-Aid on my finger. Okay, see how I have 1 inch and then half of another inch. Okay, now cover up for me. Put your finger at 4.5 inches. Good. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then half of this next inch. So 4.5 inches. Okay. Just for fun, let's measure some things in inches. Now it might be, you might have 1 1/4 inch or 4 3/4 inch. But we'll do things to the closest 1/4 inch. Measure the length of your math book. So along the spine of your math book. See how long your math book is.
Almost 11.
All right, it's almost 11 inches, so we'll say that it's about 10 and how many quarters?
11 3/4. I mean 10 3/4.
10 3/4, because it's not quite 11. We'll say it's close to 10, and then you count 1/4, 2 quarters, and 3/4. So you would write that 10 and 3/4 inches. Okay. Now measure the width of your book. So measure the shorter side of your book.
8 and 2/4. 8 and 1/4.
No, it's pretty much 8 and 2/4, which we would say 8 and a half. So that's about 8.5 inches. Okay? So any questions about measuring in inches? Okay, let's open your math book to page 197. 1/7. Who? Raise your hand if you don't have a ruler.
Oh, get back.
Okay. You can move your pen again. And you need to learn to control your tongue. Alright, I'll let you use one for today, but you need to bring one in tomorrow. Alright, so we're going to be measuring. First, we're going to fill in the missing measurements on our ruler. So you always start at 0. Now, sometimes the 0 is right at the edge. But sometimes, now like for instance, this ruler, there's that long line on the edge. It's not quite to the very edge, but it's a teeny little bit over. Okay, that's where you would start measuring. So, look at your ruler on page 197, number 1. So it starts off with 1/4, and then what measurements are missing? What comes after a quarter? Right, 1/2. Alright, so it has 1/4, and the next measurement is half, which we could say 2/4, right? But 2/4 is the same as 1/2. It's better to say 1/2. Now, and then what measurement comes after that before we get to an inch? We have 1/4, a half, and then what? 3/4. So 3/4, and then you have 1 whole inch. And then what comes after an inch? What's the next little measurement? 1/4. And then after a quarter is a half. And then they already give you 3/4. And then we're at 2 inches. Oops, I just told you the answer. Write the 2. Now see, they use little lines for the quarters, and then a little bit longer line for the half, and then a really long line for the inch. That just helps guide you. Okay, so after 2 inches comes another quarter, right? And then after a quarter is 1/2. And then they give you 3/4. And then what's our next big measurement?
1/4.
After 3/4 comes the next
1/4
inch, right?
Yeah.
Great. So basically you have 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and then 4/4 is a whole. And instead of saying 2/4, we say half. So quarter, 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 whole, quarter, 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 whole, quarter, 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 whole. The only difference is instead of saying 2/4, we'd say 1/2. Okay, I'm going to continue my ruler down here. So after 3 inches, what's the next measurement? A quarter. And then after a quarter is another quarter, but 2/4 equals a half. Just like with the dollar, right? If you have 2/4, isn't that half a dollar? Because 4/4 makes $1. So 2/4 makes half a dollar. And then after a half comes 3/4. And then our next inch would be a 4, right? 4 inches. And then after 4 inches, they give you the next. We have 1/4, and then 1/2,
3/4.
and then 3/4. Do you see the pattern? And then what's the next inch? 5. And then it just continues and continues, and it's just a pattern.
But they broke them.
Okay, Dana, you need to fill in all these little measurements. I don't believe we're learning about that. We're learning about this, and I just wrote all that on the board so you could copy it on your book, and you haven't written a single thing. You're supposed to fill in the ruler on your page with all of the little measurements. I wasn't standing up there just so you could watch me. Okay? Fill in all your measurements. Alright, we'll just wait. I don't know. I don't want anyone to miss anything. Please do not go ahead. Mason, where are you going? You don't have permission to get up. You never asked me if you could get up. Pick up that pencil you just threw on the floor. I don't mean to fuss, boys and girls, but you're not, some of you aren't obeying. Okay, this is a mess. There's a pencil right there. If you look where they need to go, you might lose them. Right here. Alright, everyone should have that brown ruler filled in. Okay.
Matthew, this is
Your time up. Come on, bud. You can zip while you want. There you go. Part of the special day. Have fun. I know. All right, let's start measuring. Okay, number 2, we're gonna estimate the length to the nearest inch. Write the measurement to the nearest 1/4 or 1/2 inch. So for number 2, measure that line from, now that's a line segment, right? Because it has a point and a point. So measure the line segment from one point to the other point. And how long is that?
3.5.
3.5.
Did you write that in estimate?
That, well, no, that is, because we, that is the estimate. We round it to the nearest 1/2 or 1/4 inch, I think. To the nearest, 1/4 or 1/2 inch.
I thought estimate was a guess.
Wow. Oh, you know why? There's 2 spaces. There's a place for you to estimate, and then there's a place for you to write the actual measurement. Yes?
Hi, Mrs. Muller.
Hi.
Would you be able to send in Marissa and Mason?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Their dad's right in the glass enclosure.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye. Alright, once you guys head out. So actually, they want you to estimate how long you think the line is, and then actually measure it. first one is 3.5 inches. What do you think it might be?
I think that might be
Estimate it might be about 4 inches.
four
Or,
and 1/4.
okay, so write whatever you think, what you think your estimate is, and then we're going to actually measure it with our rulers. And make sure you also, when you're writing the measurement, you need to include the inches. 3.5 inch. Alright, I tell you what, I had planned to be done with math by now. I don't want anyone to miss this lesson, so we'll continue this later. So go ahead and put this away. Wait up. Alright.
I'm asleep. Can you turn me?
No, come on. Come on, let's do this side. Alright, I believe we're on page 197. So we were on number 3. We were going to measure that line there. First, you're going to estimate how long you think it is, and then we're going to measure it. So if the first line was 3.5 inches, how long do you estimate you think the third one is? 1 to 3. And then measure it. Question? You got it? I'm too old to bend over. Alright, number 3. Measure that line segment. Raise your hand when you know the answer. Alright, Logan, what did you get?
4 1/4.
And I think that is correct. 4 1/4 what? Inches. 4 1/4 inches. Alright. This is where you estimate, and then over here's where you write the measurement. Alright, number 4. Write how long you think that line is. Estimate. And then measure the line segment for real. To the nearest 1/4 of an inch. Young lady in the back, what'd you get? Very good. 2 3/4 inches. Okay. Now we're going to do the opposite. They give you the measurement and you're going to draw the line segment. Use your ruler to draw the length. Draw a dot for the end point. So for number 5, 3 3/4 inches. You should have drawn a line that was 3 3/4 inches. Yes. And then number 6, 2 1/2 inches. So will that line segment be shorter or longer? Should be shorter. And then 1 1/4 inches. Start at your 0. Put your 0 on the dot and then draw a line the length. circled a better estimate. So the length of a finger, would that be about 3 inches or 6 inches?
3.
3 inches. Number 9, the length of a math book. 11 inches. Number 10, the length of a
1 inch.
goldfish.
1 inch.
1 inch. Number 11, the length of a pencil.
6.
Probably 6 inches. A 12-inch, you don't normally have a pencil that long. Not number 12, the length of a toothpick.
3 inches.
3 inches. And the length of a man's footprint?
12 inches.
12 inches. That's probably why it's called a foot. Because it's the length of a man's foot. Mostly. Usually. Okay. Micah, is there something you needed to say? Sounded like it. Okay, so now you're going to 14 to 15 draw a line segment for the length. Alright, tell you what, let's skip over to number 16 and fill in the blank. 12 inches equals how many feet? 1. Number 17, 6 inches equals how many feet?
0.
No,
1 and a half there.
not 1.5,
1. 2 and a half.
just half. Okay, 6 inches is half of a foot.
Can you do like 1
Good.
slash 2?
What?
Can you do like 1 slash 2?
Let's stick with this for now. Okay, on the back, turn the page. We're going to draw a colored dot on the ruler to match the measurement. Okay, so you're going to need green, blue, orange, yellow, red, and purple. And I'm going to use my ruler, Alright, so for number 1, the green, you're going to draw a green dot where 2.5 would be there. Alright, so 2.5. I'm just going to use, well, I do have green up here. Who wants to come up and draw a green dot where 2.5 should be? Alright, Alex? Two and a half. Good job. Okay, everybody see that? Here, I'll make it a little bigger. Okay, so on your ruler you should have drawn a green dot right here, 2.5. Okay, number 2, put a blue dot at 5.25. 5.25 inches. Alright, Nicholas?
Miss Miller, you
Yeah.
can't do it.
I know, I'll have to keep doing it down here. Oh, I see what you mean. Well, I should have started it. Tell you what, I'm gonna start 5 down here. There. Okay,
You're high five.
I know.
I'll go.
Okay, Nicholas, I was calling on you for that one.
You won. Fair decision.
Good job. You can make a big dot so you can see it.
Like this.
Alright, so 5.25. Good job. So the next measurement right after 5 would be 1 1/4. Number 3, we have 6 3/4. And that's orange. 6 3/4. All right, Autumn. Come up here, young lady. 6 3/4 inch. Can you do a big dot, please? All right, thank you very much. And number 4, 1/2 inch is yellow. Dead.
It's 2:15.
Hmm?
It's 2:15.
All right, they'll come down and get. The time might be different because of the 2-hour delay. They might come a little later. Brayden, 1/2 inch. Okay, good job. And then the red, we have 4 1/2 inches. All right, Marissa. Very good. And purple is 3 3/4. Shayna. My nursing home neighbor. 3 3/4. Yep. Yep. Very good. That is some dog. All right. Very good. How many of you got them right on your paper? Uh-oh. Okay, very good. All right, real quickly, I want you to draw the lengths. So you're going to draw 1 3/4 inch, 4 1/2 inches, 2 1/4 inches, and 3 inches. Line segments. And I'm going to walk around and make sure you're doing it correctly. Okay. 1 3/4. Get your ruler. Okay, how does this, are you leaning on this? Try not to lean on that, okay? You gotta keep stapling it. Alright. So hopefully you have your 4 lengths. You have a short one, a long one, a little bit longer than the short one, and then a medium. Okay? Looks good from what I can tell. Okay, what are we doing here? You need to keep going. No, we're up here. You're supposed to write the length, draw the length. We're not even on that right now. Now we are, but now you missed what we just did. Okay. I don't get it. All right. Write the measurement in inches for each side. So you have a triangle. You're going to measure each length of each side and write the length of it on the line. So you have a long side, a short side, and a medium side. Good job. let's start with the short length. How long did you get for that one?
2 and
1.25 inches. Okay, what about the long side?
3 inches.
3.25 inches. You need to be very careful. Okay, you put 0 right here in the corner and then measure to there. And then the other side, 2.5 inches. How many of you got that one right? All 3 sides. Okay, very good. Now let's do the rectangle. Now that one's going to be easy because why? How many sides do you really only need to measure? You only really need to measure 2 because the parallel sides are congruent. They're the same length. So how long is that short side? 1/2 of an inch. So that means that the one on the bottom's 1/2 inch. And then what about the long one?
2 inches.
That is 2 inches, right? So if this side is 2 inches, and that means this side is 2 inches. Okay, question? Yes.
If you line up your ruler between the rectangle and the triangle strip, in length the triangle is 2 inches thick.
Okay. All right, let's finish it up. Kylie broke her foot ruler in half. That's what you're using right now. It's a foot-long ruler in half. Which ruler shows what Kylie's ruler looks like now? Is it A, B, or C?
B.
Why is it B?
Because it only has 12 and it's split in half into
Right,
6.
because it's 12 inches, but it's broken in half, so it's 6 and 6. So circle B is your correct answer. All right, so for homework tonight, you're going to be doing activity pages 195, 196, which will be about inches and feet. Okay? If you do not have a ruler here in the classroom, you need to bring